Hey, it's Andrzej on Software. I'm still at this chess tournament in Lviv, Ukraine. Yesterday I won against a very strong master from Ukraine, which is very cool and unexpected in a way. But the game itself inspired me to record this podcast because during the game I realized that I can't really stress so much about every single move, trying to spend lots of time on ensuring that the move is correct and that's the best move. Basically, there's no time. We have a limit of 90 minutes per game, and then we have 30 seconds additionally per each move. This is a lot, but it's also not much. You can't spend all the time to think about everything. So it's better to focus on this kind of style of playing. That if you make a slight mistake, you're still in a maybe worse position, but your pieces are still playing actively, and you still have chances to recover from that. And that's the same with programming and in projects. In programming, we have lots of techniques to ensure that the code is right, or it does what it's expected to do, or that there is no bugs. And I have listed some of those techniques, probably there's more. But for example, things like linters or all kinds of tools that ensure that your code seems to be more or less fine at the code editor level. Then you have writing tests, you have regression tests. You can run them before every commit or after every push. Then you have something that we actually have in one project, which is production tests. So after deploy, we have some kind of smoke tests running on the production itself. Then there is mutation testing to ensure that our test coverage is high. And then there's continuous integration servers so that the code runs automatically. And usually projects use it in a way that it's actually blocking deploy. So first the tests are running, then it's deployed. Then there are code reviews in the teams, which I think they try to ensure that there's no problems with the code, so someone else reviews this. Then there are pull requests, which is kind of similar. Then there's pair programming, so that two people work on the same code, I think decreasing the chances that there's a huge problem with the solution. Then there's the whole concept of staging and production servers, so different environments. Then there's a technique of feature toggles, so you enable certain features for a certain group of users on production. And then once it's runtime, we use exception notifications, and we use sometimes of monitoring or metrics. So that's quite a lot. I probably missed some of others. But applying, I've seen some kind of trend. And last time at the Wrocław RB conference, I remember sitting with a nice group of people from one company, and they told me they're using code reviews, but they also pair program. And for me, it was surprising because it kind of serves the same goal. Obviously, it gives some other goals too, but pair programming already transfers knowledge, so code reviews are less of an effect then, and pair programming already ensures that someone else look at the code, so the code is already in a way reviewed. Obviously, we could go to one extreme and make everyone in the team, if you have 6 people in the team and you also code, then 5 people do separate code reviews. But usually we don't do that. We assume that one person or 2 people is enough. But maybe I don't know all the techniques that are happening in other companies. But I think sometimes it might be easy to go too far with those techniques of ensuring. And I remember one day at Arkansas, Paweł Pacana quoted, I don't remember who was that, but it was a quote about it's better to create an environment where the mistakes are easily revertible than to create an environment where when there are no mistakes. And I think this is something that is really close to how I work and how we work at Arkansas. So obviously we do have certain techniques that try to ensure that problems don't happen. For example, I do TDD. I more and more frequently do mutation testing. In my project, we introduce production tests. We do have continuous integration, although it's not it's not blocking the deploy. The deploy happens before the continuous integration. They are concurrent at the same time. We don't use pull requests, for example. We don't use pair programming that much, although that's a technique that actually we do use pair programming, but that's just not with everyone. We do have staging production, although I think it would be better with just production. And we don't use feature toggles yet, but I'm planning to introduce it. And obviously, we do have exception notifications. We don't have really a proper monitoring or metrics yet, but that's a plan for next time. But the main thing here is that I also have another metric, not only to ensure there's no bugs, but I also want to ensure that if I want to add some new functionality or some simple functionality, it's important for me that I can get this running on production as soon as possible. So within, 1 minute, for example, or 30 seconds, which means I need to look differently at certain stuff, and I need to trust my tests. And I need to trust that even if I actually do introduce a problem, that this problem can be reverted, that it's not like the end of the world. And we do treat with money in the project. So, but still, it doesn't mean that you have to have this like frozen process around this, so that no changes are made or something like that. There are other techniques. Like, it's better to find it, and it's different for every project, I believe. So it's better to have some metrics runtime sometimes, and some other projects you may want to have some manual people looking at the data of their clients and whether everything seems to be fine. Because despite all of these techniques that were mentioned, people will still introduce bugs. Projects software still has bugs, so there is a limit to put on having those techniques. And I actually enjoy most of the techniques here. It's just that I don't want them to block me too much. So I want to get the code out on production. And also, I don't want to have like too much bureaucracy and too much ceremony around just putting my code out there. In the end, we want programmers to be not so stressed all the time, right? And we don't want that the environment where we blame for mistakes. We want an environment where people can make mistakes, but those mistakes are easily to recover and easily to fix. Thanks for listening.